This is Business LO, a podcast by the Lake Oswego Chamber of Commerce, which connects, educates, advocates, and champions our business community. We have nearly 500 members from international corporations to home-based businesses, and we serve them all. Each episode of Business LO gives insider information to the local business community and the neighbors who support them. And now, let's talk Business LO.
Today is January 23rd, 2026, and this episode will publish on February 1st. We are so excited to have two chamber members and local business owners joining us for a candid discussion about owning a franchise here in the Lake Oswego area. We have Rosie Rojas. She is the Chief Executive Possifer for Woofie's Southwest Portland, and Melissa Boatwright from Ace Handyman Services Portland and Vancouver. They'll tell us a little bit about themselves in just a moment, but first, let's talk about who is leading the conversation. It's our veritable pillar of the community, Heather Graves Ramsey. She is owner of Coach to Brilliance. She specializes in executive coaching and leadership development, and it wouldn't be a Business LO episode without our very own Chamber CEO, Liz Hartman. She has all the important insider information with what you need to know in LO. And I'm Michelle Odell, and let's get going, Heather.
So excited to have both of you here. So excited to learn a little bit more about not just franchises overall, but we're excited to kind of know why you chose LO for your franchises. Melissa, I'm going to have you kick us off and just tell us a little bit about you.
I grew up in Wyoming. So when I was 19, I joined the Air Force. I was on active duty in the Air Force for 10 years. I did 16 years as a reservist. When I left active duty, I'd finished my degree right before I got out of the military, did a master's degree, and then moved into the corporate world. So while I was in the reserves, I was beginning my corporate career kind of in my late 20s, initially in corporate communications, in marketing, in executive communications, and then got a really cool opportunity to be the chief of staff for a chief technology officer in the Bay Area. But what I really loved was operational excellence and efficiency and like seeing the results of your work, and worked for that person for a couple of years, ran some data analytics teams at LinkedIn, did a stint in Ireland as part of that during COVID. All the while, my husband, who's my business partner, he went back and got his master's after he got out of the military and took a course called Turnarounds. And he was like, oh, did you know you could just buy a business? And so we started our entrepreneur journey, never really intending to purchase a franchise, just looking for a business that we thought we could add value to. Construction was one of those things where we were like, we're kind of adjacent to this industry our whole lives. And it just coincided with purchasing our business, and have been doing that since 2020.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the program, Melissa. So glad you're here. And we also have Rosie Rojas here. Rosie, will you tell us just a little bit about you too?
I am a native Oregonian and spent years in finance and mortgage lending before deciding I wanted to build something more connected to people and the community. Today, that looks like running a locally owned mobile pet care business offering mobile grooming, pet sitting, and dog walking. I care a lot about raising the standards in pet care and supporting the people doing the work while still keeping things personal and community driven. I also, same like Melissa, how she started in 2020, I was also questioning my work, and during that time, I really took a hard look of what I was doing, and owning a business was really something that I wanted to do.
Now you both do, and you both have these wonderful franchises. And just curious, I know your husband, Melissa, brought it to you, but Rosie, how did you even research? What did you look at? What did you need to learn in order to be like, oh yeah, like this franchise thing might be for me?
I worked with a business consultant, and he had me take personality and value assessments. And once I really dug into what mattered to me, I found Woofie's. And
you found Woofie's?
Yes.
And were you looking for a franchise at first?
No, I really put my consumer hat on, and I analyzed what were the needs that I was looking for in my community. My partner and I both interviewed about 15 different franchises. It took me a while, but puppies and all the pets, I was like, that's where I want to spend my time.
Yeah. Awesome. So it was knowing that you wanted to start your own business, knowing that you didn't want to stay working for somebody else, going out there, looking 15 different franchises later. So, and having a business consultant help you. I think that was an important part of your journey too. Because it sounds like they opened the door to like what's possible or what you could even have.
Yeah.
Melissa, how about you? How did you find your way to ACE?
After Corey took that course, we spent probably years looking at biz buy sell, like just seeing what was out there. We ended up talking to like some manufacturing company, being veteran owned. We were like, oh, maybe we go for a company that has a lot of government contract potential. So we looked at some manufacturing companies. We didn't have a business consultant, but we did have access to Corey's MBA professors.
Okay.
So anytime we would like talk to a potential business to own, if we were a little bit intrigued, then he would kind of go huddle with his professors and say like, hey, here's the P&L. What do you think of the margins? What questions should we be asking? And then it just so happened that we came across this opportunity right around the time that Ace Hardware bought the existing franchising system called Handyman Matters. So in late 2019, like September 2019, Ace Hardware bought Handyman Matters, which had about 30 franchises across the United States at that point. It took them 6 months to turn it into Ace Handyman. They launched it in March of 2020, which, if we all remember, was not a great time to launch a new franchising system.
Maybe, maybe not. A lot of people were stuck at home and needed stuff fixed. So.
It was a great time to be in the construction industry, right? Because we could still operate, right? We were viewed as essential services. And more people, they weren't spending their discretionary income on trips. They were making their home work better for them. We had this massive tailwind that we didn't even know we had, right? Until like really about 2022 when things started to normalize again. We saw the business, we saw the numbers. We also had the benefit of the military community. So the veteran is like an incredibly tight-knit community.
But you did look at the numbers too. So you were
100%. We did due diligence, right? We did all the things. But I think one of the things, whether you're buying a franchise or not, I think some folks think that buying, I won't say some folks. One of the things that when I have to bump up against my own stereotypes about franchising, before we considered a franchise, I was like, but isn't franchising kind of like the easy way out? P.S. It's not. It is still hard to run a business, whether it's a franchise or not. You just are operating with different confines, like different barriers, different boundaries. And so we just happened to right place, right time.
Yeah.
What I was really looking for when I was looking to invest into a business was a proven system. So we have that information already. We have systems in place, processes to follow, and a brand already built. It comes with a lot of tools, and I can lean on the other owners. And they're like my little cohort, and they're the founders. Our founders are still on, and if I have questions, they have 20 years of experience and have probably already gone through this. And so I can call them, I can vent, I can ask them, I can ask the other franchisees, and we really are collaborators.
You know, it's ready, it's made, we'll put it here, and then you hopefully get to make it your own, but there's systems, there's especially the branding in place. You both chose LO, Vancouver, Portland Metro, but you spent a lot of time in LO. So help us understand why that? How is that helpful for you?
I did grow up here in Oregon, and I grew up in Hillsboro as well. So I really know the area. Lake Oswego is just such a small community. I didn't want my groomers to be driving all around Portland. I know that a lot of business owners here, we're all relationship based, and so we all help each other.
Melissa, how about for you? Why this LO area and why dig in here?
The first couple of years was just sort of getting our head around the business. It just so happened that around that same time, we personally moved to Lake Oswego as well. Because it's a maturing franchise model, the most valuable thing that we get in our franchising system is that ACE brand. And these are people that also highly value keeping their homes looking nice. And then I would say lastly, kind of personally, why we ended up in Lake Oswego. I won't speak for my husband, but for me, I grew up in a really small town. While I dearly love living in cities and having like the amenities of a city, I've also, as I've grown older, I don't need to live down the street from those amenities. That I can call somebody like Heather or Liz and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And they know. And so there's this element of community. While it's obviously really important to our business and our business success, just something tremendously special about the community of Lake Oswego.
So franchise, we've got our communities, we're dug in, you're a couple years into your franchises now, right? So what support do you get from, we've talked about the brand and the process and that sort of thing, but like from the actual headquarters of the franchises? Because it's in their best interest, I'm sure, to keep you in a good place. What support do you get from them?
Rosie talked about a proven business model, right? They've spent so similarly, the founders are still involved in the business. They're the husband is the CEO. The wife does all the franchise development for ACE. They've invested 3 decades in pressure testing this model. So we get a designated franchise consultant. So think of this as like a business consultant. They partner with multiple owners in the system. So they can tell me, another owner that's at about your size in a place that's similar to your market, this is how they're having success hiring craftspeople. We're looking to like evolve our marketing. Here's the success that they're having. And then I would say is maybe a little bit of what Rosie talked about as well is the connection to other owners directly.
Both of you have partners that you're working with and own these franchises with. And then when you were talking about the people that own the franchises, they're married. So what is it with people that are married and franchises? What's going on with that? And how does that work for you?
Definitely was test in our relationship. Finding new ways to communicate with each other on a business level is completely different than working your own 9 to 5 or whatever it is. I am very thankful for my husband, Tulsi Seidman. He shows up to all of my events. He will sometimes even help me in farmers markets. He does help, and it definitely brings the relationship to a whole other level.
I love it.
So for us, it is a test. We recently sold our Central Oregon operations to a husband and wife partnership as well. When I think about the people that went to the conference a couple weeks ago, 15 of the 20 were partnered relationships that were in business together. It's a little different for us because Corey doesn't work full time in the business. So obviously the business is really important in our lives and to our livelihood. And so we make we're having a strategy session tomorrow. Let's talk P&L
strategy.
So that is different because we have to make space and keep boundaries so that he can focus on his full-time job.
Yeah.
We also, as the person who works in the business every single day, I don't want to come home and talk about our schedule at 7:00 at night.
Right.
And so we actually implemented a twice a week we meet for 45 minutes and we only talk about operations of our family.
Yeah.
But then we're also looking at, okay, what does demand look like right now? What do we need to think about in terms of renewing our insurance? So we use that opportunity to try to concentrate the business stuff so that we don't end up, our relationship doesn't end up just being
that's no fun.
The business.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we haven't asked you that you think it would be important for people specifically in Lake Oswego to know about thinking of a franchise here?
This is advice I would have given myself. We didn't look for a franchise. And once we saw it, we were like, okay, this makes sense. In a place even like Lake Oswego, where you can put in the work to do the networking, you can become known and connected. Having a structure and a brand that allows you to accelerate through the hardships that everyone's going to go through them as a business owner is in a market like Lake Oswego can be, as you're making your decision, weigh it appropriately, weigh that value appropriately.
That makes sense.
Something that I would say is just find something that aligns with you, because you are going to be spending a lot of time in the business or on the business. And there's phases just like any other businesses. So philosophically, I will say structure is so important for your own sanity. It's so important.
Yes. When you look at the franchise disclosure agreement, you can see the names of all the other owners and you have their contact information. So if you are looking into buying a franchise, you should call at least 10 other owners, ones that are still in business and ones that have closed their franchise, and use those as data points.
That is absolutely fair.
Yeah, we called those validation calls, and definitely important.
All the research is really key. Well, thank you both for bringing your awesomeness, your business, your franchise to here in Lake Oswego, but also to this wonderful podcast. But I just am so grateful to have had time with you, and we're excited to put this out there and to help other people who might be thinking of starting a franchise or being a part of one. How might people be able to get in touch with each of you?
Woofys.com/SW Portland, and socials, of course. So we're Woofys SW Portland.
How about you, Melissa? How can we find you?
Similarly, acehandymanservices.com. If you put in your zip code, it'll direct you straight to us. We are on social media, so usually it's AHS Portland. But again, search Ace Handyman Portland, Ace Handyman Lake Oswego, Ace Handyman Vancouver. All roads point back to me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, Liz, what is going on? What do we need to know in LO?
The Chamber has been busy in putting together affiliate groups, and the first one that has started is the LO Tech, which are people who work in Lake Oswego in tech or live in Lake Oswego and are in tech. This group will meet the third Tuesday from 4:30 to 6, and it will be at a different place every month. You can find the location at the Lake Oswego Chamber website or read it in the newsletter. We will be starting a young professionals group. And young professionals, people always say, well, what would that age be? We are thinking under 30, but if you're 35 and you're kind of new into the professional type groups, again, this is an organization that is looking at young professionals who live in Lake Oswego or work in Lake Oswego, and that will be the second Tuesday beginning on February 10th from 3:30 to 5. And this first one on February 10th will be at the AC Hotels.
Okay.
After that, there will be a different place every month. The third group that's forming is Women in Business, and that one has not started yet. What they're looking at is a quarterly meeting, but again, please watch the newsletter and watch the website. This will probably be a group that you'll need to register to attend, and it will be in different locations. These others you can just drop in. We are not at a registration point, so watch what each group is doing. It looks like we're finally going to get a ribbon cutting for Lake Oswego's newest coffee house, the Lake Oswego Coffee House, which is right next door to the Chamber of Commerce. So we are thrilled to welcome this new neighbor, and you'll again have to watch the newsletter to see when it is, but watch for them on their website, Lake Oswego Coffee House. And we would like you to think about, if your employees use TriMet to get to work, TriMet is having some open houses and some surveys because there is a proposal to cut some of the TriMet service to Lake Oswego. TriMet is looking at big cuts coming up. They need to hear from you. It's going to be important because transportation is important to employees who come to Lake Oswego. So again, watch the newsletter for things that are coming up for that, and do register how TriMet cut services would impact your business. And networking for February will be at Tavern on Cruise, the AC Hotel, the Portland Face Doctor, and Roya Kitchen and Bath.
Fun. Well, thank you so much, Liz. It's always a lot going on. Again, the newsletter every Tuesday, it is so valuable. It's free, it's easy, and you'll always know what's happening with the Chamber. We really appreciate all of our listeners, and we want everyone to remember that every day is a Chamber of Commerce Day here in Lake Oswego.
The Lake Oswego Chamber of Commerce thanks you for listening to Business LO. We would love to have you as a member so you can help Lake Oswego continue to be one of the best places to live, work, and play. If you want to share an idea for a future episode or become a member, visit us at lakeoswegochamber.com and please like and follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And for help with your business podcast, go to modcastproductions.com.